All right, we are all set to talk about Pitt football and talk about the offense for day number 74 today. As we go on, 74 straight days of talking about Pitt's offense and, how it's bad and maybe how it could get better, but really mostly how it's bad. And I've got lots of information and data and papers and sheets about this, but there's also some Pitt basketball news, and we can't really ignore that. I've been talking about it a bit on the message boards for the past few days. It sort of became official yesterday that Deshawn Jackson, the center transfer from Iowa State, is going to be out indefinitely for a medical situation, quote, medical situation. That's how it was announced in the press release. Pitt will have no further comment beyond that. They included a quote from Deshawn Jackson, which to me sort of sounds like somebody saying, please stop sending me messages on Instagram and direct messages on any social media or stopping me on the street and asking me what's going on, because clearly the word had spread. And Deshawn Jackson started off his statement by thanking everyone for their well wishes and reaching out. But he's going to be out indefinitely. And this is... I was about to say this is a major blow to the Pitt basketball program. I'm not sure I think enough of this roster to say that there's a major blow that could happen, but it's a significant blow because it's a projected starter and someone they were counting on to be one of the main, I think, faces of the program, one of the main faces of the style of play for this season. And now he's out for the foreseeable future. And hey, it wouldn't be fall in Pittsburgh without somebody on the Pitt basketball team being ruled out at least, if not for the whole season, then for, an indefinite amount of time. I mean, this is a rite of passage. We should have known this was coming. Shame on all of us for thinking that Pitt might get through September, October, November without someone being ruled out for an extended period of time. But it's Deshawn Jackson who draws the short straw here. He's going to be out for a bit. What does that mean for Pitt basketball? And then we'll segue into some more depressing Pitt football offensive talk, because that's what we do here on the Morning Pitt. It's youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Yeah, it's unfortunate news for Deshawn Jackson. Perhaps the biggest offseason addition, or at least, out of the transfer portal. I think there was a decent amount of money involved here in getting Deshawn Jackson to Pitt. He was one of their biggest transfer acquisitions. I mean, Barry Dunning Jr. certainly up there, DeMarco Minor as well, and then Roman Cialepa as a freshman addition. I mean, all the, Anoyas and Drasitis. I mean, I think they brought in a group of transfers with very specific intentions for them, and Deshawn Jackson's very specific intention was to be the starting center on this team, potentially help improve the rebounding and scoring around the post, and just generally being a big physical force there, even as some fans feared that it might mean they would play Deshawn Jackson and Cam Corrin on the court at the same time. Well, I guess that's not a possibility anymore, since Deshawn Jackson's not going to be on the court for an extended period of time. I guess Cam Corrin would then move back to the center position to be your top five, and potentially opening a path for Roman Cialepa to play as the starting four. I think we sort of dark humored our way into this thought that they would start Cam Corrin and Deshawn Jackson and Roman Cialepa. Perhaps the most highly touted offseason acquisition would come off the bench, much to everyone's chagrin. Well, now I think that path is opened up a little bit if Jackson's not available. If he's on the sidelines, and unable to play or unavailable to play, Cam Corrin would have to be your starting center, I think, because I don't think you would want to go with Corrin starting at the 4 and Papa Amadou Conti starting at the 5. I think maybe they just have to get more flexible with the forwards and how they move guys around into that power forward. It's not even a power forward position. Let's not call it that. But into the 4, right? If Roman Cialepa starts, Barry Dunning Jr. could get minutes there. You could kind of move guys around. Maybe one of the big freshmen, like Henry Cody Lau or Kieran Mullen, could get some spots there. You might have noticed a little blip. I forgot. I spaced on Kieran Mullen's name. But I mean, one of the, maybe one of these young guys can get a little bit more minutes out there, playing at the 5 in order to move guys around. But I think your options now at the 4, maybe Amdi Najai gets some more time and ends up contributing. But my guess would be, you just move guys around. You play a little bit smaller with Barry Dunning Jr. at the 4. More than maybe you previously expected. That would be my first guess, but I mean, we'll see how all of this plays out as the season gets closer. But obviously, you hope for Deshawn Jackson and his medical situation, everything to sort of be resolved there for him to be healthy and, ideally be able to play basketball for Pitt at some point this season. Although when the word indefinitely is used in the statement, according to the statement, Pitt men's basketball center Dishon Jackson is out indefinitely as he deals with a medical situation. The statement from Jackson, which was released through Pitt, quote, "I've appreciated the concern and outreach recently. I've been dealing with a medical issue for years, and because of my family and support system, I've always managed to get through it and come out on the other end of it better. While I'm currently away from my team and basketball family, I'm focused on getting back to full health. I'm grateful for the support from my coaches, teammates, and everyone who's been with me through this." So it's a little interesting that he's, quote, "away from my team." You would think still want to be around, maybe can't practice, maybe can't be cleared to practice due to the medical situation, but being away from the team is a little bit of an eyebrow raise, a little bit concerning. And I guess we'll see kind of what comes out of this. Interesting that Jeff Capel wasn't really involved in this press release either. But honestly, like I said, I think as far as announcing this officially was probably just to get people to stop bothering Deshawn Jackson about it. I can only imagine he's been getting a lot of direct messages and things like that, and maybe this statement kind of puts an end to it. So that's unfortunate news for Pitt, certainly unfortunate news for Deshawn Jackson. We hope it all works out well for him health-wise. We'll keep an eye on that as we get closer to basketball season and see where things go from there. On the football side, there's two things that I've been digging a lot into this week and doing a lot of spreadsheets about and legal pads and scrap papers and all these different things. And it's two areas of Pitt's offense that they're bad. Like, Pitt is just downright bad. And it's third down and it's the red zone. And it's not an exaggeration to say that Pitt is one of the worst teams in the nation in both of these categories. Probably the worst team in the ACC in both of these categories. I'm not sure if anyone is worse than Pitt. If they're not 17th in both of these categories, they're 16th. It really is that bad. You look at third down. Pitt is 16 of 50 on third down this season. All right, that's 32%. That's terrible. 119th in the nation and last in the ACC. They're averaging 4 conversions per game. 4 games, 16 conversions. They're only converting 4 third downs per game. There are only 5 teams in the country who have converted fewer than 16 third downs this season. All right, Texas A&M and UCLA who just fired their offensive coordinator. You may have heard of him. UMass, Miami of Ohio, and Sam Houston. These are the only 5 teams in the country that have converted fewer than 16 third downs this season. We'll give an honorable mention to Kansas and Utah State. They're both averaging fewer than 4 third down conversions per game. It's terrible. It is downright bad. And the further you go on the numbers, the worse it gets. So Pitt has had 50 third downs that they've faced. And I want to say 34 of those 50, so 68%, have been 3rd and 5 or longer. And so this actually gets into, I probably should have put this stat last, actually, because this gets into a bigger problem, that they're not doing well enough on first down and second down to get into third and manageable situations. Because when it's 3rd and 4 or shorter, they've converted 11 out of 16 times. Which isn't bad. Maybe I don't know what a national average would be on that stat. I really just kind of ran the numbers on Pitt's third down offense and kind of where they are, distances and things like that. But the problem is their average third down distance is 7 yards. They're averaging a 3rd and 7. And again, 68% of their third downs are 3rd and 5 or longer. If you could convert, 11 out of 16 on 3rd and 4 or shorter, if you could then face more 3rd and 4s or 3s or 2s or 1s, you'd be in much better shape. Obviously. But you're not doing well enough in first down and second down to put yourself into those makeable third down situations. And then, so you look at these 3rd and 5 or longer. Against West Virginia and Louisville, Pitt had 21 third downs that were 3rd and 5 or longer. And they only converted 1 of them. 1. They converted 1 third down that was 3rd and 5 or longer. And it was Cole Gonzalez throwing to Raphael Williams at the end of the Louisville game. Pitt's longest third down conversions this season. They had a 3rd and 14 against Central Michigan. Eli Holstein scrambled for 31 yards. They had a 3rd and 12 against Duquesne. Eli Holstein scrambled for 16 yards. So Pitt's 2 longest third down conversions this season haven't come on a called play or a designed play or something that was schemed or game planned or anything like that. It was Eli Holstein scrambling to pick up the third down. And so, I mean, they converted those plays, but it's not even like they had a good offensive play in for it. They had a 3rd and 9 against Central Michigan, where they converted with a 20-yard pass to Deuce Spann. I think he got a lot of yards after the catch on that. And then you get that 3rd and 7 against Louisville with the 14-yard pass from Cole Gonzalez to Raphael Williams. So that's the longest third down they've converted against a Power 4 team all year. Or in 2 games, I guess. And it's also the only long third down they converted. That was also the only third down they converted against Louisville at all. They were 1 of 10 on third down. Eli Holstein on third down, 15 of 26. Do the math on that. What is that, about 60%? Little less than 60%. 15 of 26 for 149 yards. He doesn't have any interceptions. He doesn't have any touchdowns. I think, let me just bring my spreadsheet up real quick. I don't think he has any touchdowns, but I get, no, he ran for 2 touchdowns, but he has not thrown for a touchdown on third down this season. So 149 yards, 26 pass attempts on third down for Eli Holstein. 5 of those 26 pass attempts have converted third down. Like, I sometimes I feel like I want to add gravity. I should, like, make my voice more booming or add a special effect. But think about that number I just said to you again. In 4 games, Eli Holstein has thrown 26 passes on third down. 5 of those attempts have gained a first down. Shoot, he's completed 15 passes on third down. 5 of those completions, only 5 of the completions have gotten a first down. It's a remarkable level of futility for Pitt this season. I didn't mean to space those words out like that, but I just, it's so ineffective. And like, as bad as they are on third down, they're 119th in the country in third down conversion percentage. I mean, they're right up there or right down there, depending on your perspective, in the red zone. I mean, they are one of the worst in the country in the red zone as well. Let me find, here's my stats. So they're actually not as bad as 119th. Oh, this is my annual verbal plea to the NCAA to change the way it tracks red zone effectiveness. You've probably heard me go on this diatribe before. I'll probably do it again later this season. If you go to the NCAA's official stat website and you search by red zone offense or defense, what you're going to get is a ranking of score percentage. What percentage of your red zone drives end with points? Okay, that's good. That's important. I mean, if you get inside the 20, you want to come away with points. But I think it sort of misses the point that touchdowns are obviously far more valuable than field goals. And the NCAA, the way the NCAA ranks red zone effectiveness is simply by saying, well, did you score? And they're basically saying that a touchdown is worth the same as a field goal. But we all know that's not the case. You are a good red zone offense if you're able to get into the red zone and score touchdowns, not settle for field goals. So Pitt is actually tied for the 3rd most red zone field goals. They have 7 field goals on drives that got inside the 20. That's not something you want to be near the top of the country in. You don't want to be one of the best teams in the country at getting field goals from the red zone. But that's what Pitt has done because they have been god-awful in the red zone this season. 21 red zone possessions, just 11 of them have resulted in touchdowns. That's a red zone touchdown percentage of 52.4%. That ranks 109th in the nation. They are average. So that's one way I think the NCAA should rank teams on red zone effectiveness is their touchdown percentage. What percentage of your red zone drives end with a touchdown? And then the other way is points per possession. I like this one too. I don't know if I like one more than the other. I like points per red zone possession because it sort of takes it all into account, right? You get more credit for touchdowns, which you should. But you also get some credit for field goals because it is important that you come away with points. I mean, if you get into the red zone and, the defense holds you without a point, I mean, you really failed. And so I like red zone points per possession. And in that regard, Pitt, with their 11 touchdowns and 7 field goals in 21 possessions, is averaging 4.14 points per red zone possession, which is good for 94th in the nation. I mean, that's awful. That's downright awful. And, you look at 21 possessions, 11 touchdowns, 7 field goals. You know what happened on the other 3? Interceptions. Eli Holstein in the red zone this season, 4 games, all 4 games combined, 11 of 22 for 85 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Duquesne, he threw 3 touchdowns and a pick in the red zone. Central Michigan, he threw 3 touchdowns, and then he threw 1 touchdown in the red zone against West Virginia, along with 1 interception. Louisville, he didn't complete any passes in the red zone. He was 0-4 for no yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. In the 2 games against West Virginia and Louisville, Eli Holstein, passing in the red zone, 2 of 9 for 21 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I'm adding the gravity to it again. He completed 2 passes in the red zone against West Virginia and Louisville. He completed 2 passes to his teammates and 2 passes to the opponents. Oh, and Cole Gonzalez was even worse. In the red zone, he's 2 of 7 for -1 yard. You want to talk about why Pitt is where they are. You want to talk about why Pitt is bad. You want to talk about why Pitt is 2-2. You want to talk about why they haven't been able to beat West Virginia or Louisville. They have been god awful on 3rd down and in the red zone. And there's a lot of reasons why. I think you can look at, like I talked about, down and distance, right? Like, what distance are you facing on 3rd down? That's a reflection on what you got on 1st down and 2nd down. And you weren't very good there. And then the red zone, you can talk about completing 50% of your passes. And that's including, going 9 of 13 against Duquesne and Central Michigan. And then you turn around and go 2 of 9 passing in the red zone for Eli Holstein against West Virginia and Louisville. I do think there's an issue with the fact that they don't really run the ball much. And I don't, obviously it would help to have Desmond Reed back, but I think Juelz Goff and Jakirian Turner are good enough that you should be able to trust them to run in the red zone. Pitt has run 49 plays in the red zone this season. 49 plays inside the 20. 32 of those were pass plays, and that includes 3 scrambles. 17 out of 49 plays. So it's about 35% of your plays were run plays. And of those 17, 9 were handoffs inside the 10. 7 were inside the 5. So they're not really going to the run game all that much in the red zone. And when they do, it's usually when they're inside the 10 or inside the 5. That's when they actually feel comfortable handing it off. Of course, except for the Louisville game when they had the ball at the 4 and they decided to throw it. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, they just need to run more, although they do. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, they need to do better on 1st down. Well, they do. Those things are all accurate and obvious. And so when you talk about what Cade Bell needs to get better at, when you talk about, where Pitt needs to improve, how they're going to get better overall, starting with this game against Boston College, you got to do better on 3rd down. You got to do better in the red zone. And that probably means getting a better run game going, because the run game hasn't been good enough. And I don't know if it hasn't been good enough or they just haven't done it enough. I'll let you draw your conclusions. I'll have more of these numbers on Panther-Lair.com today. I have more numbers than just what I said here. I tried to narrow it down just to the things, the points that would stick with you. Let's see. If you want to impress your friends, here's what you should tell them. Do the West Virginia-Louisville red zone stat. That Eli Holstein has completed 2 passes to Pitt players and 2 passes to West Virginia and Louisville players in the red zone. That's a good stat. Go with that one. Oh, and there's only 5 teams in the country that have converted fewer 3rd downs than Pitt. use those two stats at the tailgate on Saturday. And, and then I'll write a bunch of other numbers on Panther-Lair.com later today, and you can, you can bring them up on your phone. But those stats will impress your friends or make everyone drink more. Either way, we'll be doing that after the game on Saturday, win or lose, because that's what we do on the Panther-Lair post-game show. So make sure you tune in for that. In the meantime, make sure you like this video and subscribe, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. That way you don't miss any of our Pitt video content. And don't forget, we have the Morning Pitt mailbag tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that as always. So tune in right here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Like and subscribe. Have a good Thursday. We'll catch up with you tomorrow for the mailbag right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.